tell you when I'd like the slide changing?
That's probably easiest. Yeah, if that's okay. Yeah, just give me a shout.
Lovely. So some of you may have heard of the Switch Off Your Engine campaign before. And now, Anne, Scott, if that's you from Overdale that I can see that popped up a little while ago, Overdale ran the campaign last academic year. In 2018, when I kind of came into post as an air quality education officer, I think 7 schools took on. Hey, there we go. Anne's saying we did in the chat there. So 7 schools joined and took on the campaign in 2018. Last year we were on around 9, but then COVID hit and we didn't get very far with some of them. So the Switch Off Your Engine for Cleaner Air campaign is something that we really want to start promoting far and wide. So beyond schools, hopefully within the next 6 months or so, we'll be looking at promoting to businesses, workplaces, bus depots, all of the kind of places where you see idling very, very present within our communities as well as outside of schools. So moving forward, we are having a way up this. I'll need to turn the chat off because otherwise I can't concentrate. So moving forward, we are actually having a little bit of a revamp of some of our resources. So a while ago, I had developed a toolkit, a campaign toolkit and a media toolkit, which basically talked you through what the campaign was, how to run it in schools yourself, and also it gave you some advice on the type of content that you could use for websites and all different types of media platforms to get the messages out to your parents and to the school community. These have been taken on by our designers and are being made into something that's far more professional looking, so it gives it a proper off-the-shelf feel, in the hope that schools might want to do something themselves, obviously with my support. So the Switch Off Your Engine for Cleaner Air campaign is generally an anti-idling campaign, as Lee's already mentioned, and it's just generally a series of posters or signs that sit outside of the school gates that are encouraging motorists or any vehicle user to switch their engine off when they're outside of school. Lee, can you go on to the next slide, please, before I just take off with more waffling? And obviously idling is a big issue, and it's one of the biggest causes of air pollution outside of schools, and young children, especially with their developing lungs, are actually quite vulnerable to the effects of air pollution and can cause things like asthma and stunted lung growth and all kinds of things like that. And I find this statistic actually quite interesting. So at the very last bullet on this slide, even though children only spend 40% of their day at school, research has shown that as much as 60% of a child's exposure to pollution can be from the school run while at school, which is quite scary. Can you jump onto the next slide for me, please, Lee? So idling basically is fuelish, and I'm sure we've all done it. I think everyone has kind of slipped into that that mode where they're just absent-mindedly leave the engine running. They're trying to keep the car warm, they want to charge the phone, they want to do this, they want to do that. I'm only going to be here for a minute, but essentially, hey, I haven't I need to turn these messages off, damn them. So essentially though, poor air quality does affect absolutely everybody. So if there's one quick and easy solution to try and improve the air quality outside of schools, switching off your engine and reminding everybody to is definitely something that we should all be doing. Idling also wastes fuel and money. It can be confusing to pedestrians who are trying to cross the road. Is that car going, staying? What are they doing? And it's breaking the law. And it could cost you idlers an on-the-spot fine of up to about £80, depending on the local authority that you are in. Next slide, please, Lee. Oh, so a couple of little Twitter posts here. So you can see the children in the picture on the right hand side. Now those guys came from Avenue Primary School. So in 2018 in December we relaunched the Switch Off Your Engine campaign for cleaner air, and we got some lovely press coverage from it, and we ended up having a lovely interview on the radio with some of the guys from there Avenues Eco Team. And there's some quotes there, I think, that really kind of say it from the people's hearts. So the Switch Off Your Engine campaign is a campaign that you can really get your eco team, or perhaps a year group, or a class bubble, or a school council involved in. The idea being that you create your strategy, you have the opportunity to go out and monitor the situation, learn what idling is, and identify hotspots around your school where people are idling. And then you can decide how you want to disseminate messages to encourage people to switch their engines off. And that can be anything from getting the kids to stand outside and hold like a mini protest in a socially distanced fashion, if that's acceptable at all at your school. If it's not, then don't worry. It could be then putting together letters to send home to parents. It could be making posters, doing social media photographing, and from Overdale School made the eco team did this wonderful series of photos that presented to parents and to the rest of the school community the effects of idling. So there were these kids like coughing and pretending to cough with outside next to vehicles where there were like kind of cartoon plumes of smoke coming out of their exhaust and things. So it can be as creative as you want, but it's something that I think I'd like to see as many schools as possible this year taking on board. Next slide, please, Lee. If there is one, I think there is.
Yeah, that should have moved on.
Yeah. So the reasons to go, all systems go with the Switch Your Engine Off for Cleaner Air campaign. All of those things, really. Yeah, I'm not even going to keep talking about it. Next slide, please. So if you'd like to find out more about the Switch Off Your Engine campaign, if you have noticed people idling outside of schools, or I'll give you a little challenge, as the weather starts getting cooler, go outside at the beginning, the end of the school day, the end of the day particularly, and see whether you can notice people leaving their engines running just a little bit longer to keep the car warm before they have to jump out and go and collect the kids. But in terms of collecting physical resources like banners or posters to go up on school railings, we can come to an arrangement whereby there can be a socially distanced transaction, so you could come and pick things up from the town hall bike park if you wanted to, or I might be able to find a way to drop them off via cargo bike to the school for you. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to do remote assemblies, or send you a PowerPoint so that your eco team or school council can present them to the rest of the school instead, or you can do it yourself. And again, we have a wealth of digital resources that will help explain the process in a little bit more detail. But if you want any help, then do drop us an email. Thank you very much for listening. I am going now, I promise. There you go.
Brilliant. Thank you very much for that.